So do you know what are the different types of roles we have when we are working with big data? Anybody can guess? Like a data engineer, we know it. Any other guesses on different types of other roles what we have to process this big data? We have data engineer role, as we know. Now we are learning it. We have data analyst role and we have data scientist role. Okay. So we have three different roles working on. Their work is totally different. Okay. So when we speak about data analyst role, let me share my screen and we'll have. If you see, before speaking about different types of roles, we'll see what is actually big data and what are the different characteristics are associated with this big data. Okay. Now the volume is very high for this big data where we cannot use our basic tools to analyze it. That means to load the data and then working on refining the data and then drawing insights from the data is very tough with the basic tools. Do you people know previously before these tools working on big data, we used to have SQL Server and Oracle where we used to load our data and we need to write queries to get data out of it. So anybody has any idea on SQL Server, Oracle? Anyone?
Yeah, SQL Server.
SQL Server. Okay, so fine. So whenever you are working on the SQL Server, you write a query, right? You write a query and you get the output. So one or two lines of code, it will generally retrieve the data very fastly, and it will show you like uh, what are the employees who are having who has joined 5 years back. So whenever you write such type of code, you easily get the data and you can see the result there. But whereas when working with big data, right, so it is not that much easy where we cannot load the data into this SQL server and we cannot write queries easily to see what is the data that we want. If you write a query, it will take hell lot of time just to uh, just to run the query and get the data. Okay. So what happened now, since this data is growing big, tools to analyze the data, tools to work on the data is also gradually increasing. Okay. Some of the characteristics, just to remember, like what is big data, some of the characteristics of big data, you can see my screen, like you the volume is very high, the velocity or the variety of data. For example, say you have images, you have videos, and you have text files, you have CSV files, Excel files. So data is coming in different formats, and business is asking us to please work on this data, please streamline this data and give me some insights. Okay. For example, take a very big manufacturing company. So they what they do is they generally get the raw materials, they prepare the products, they sell the products. Okay. Now what happened? Now they have some information about what are the raw data we are purchasing. So there is a separate set of data that is coming in, and they are working on the raw data to make products. And that when the product goes into market, what are the different sales happening over the countries. So they just want a weekly report or a daily report, like what is happening with my product and all. But the data is very huge, so it became so complicated that there are people started uh, taking different paths how to analyze it, how to format it, how to present it to the business. Okay, you got it right till here about big data and what are the different characteristics of big data. If you see, you have any doubts about this big data? So normally we will be working on this big data only. As- It's nothing but huge data that is coming in multiple formats, in multiple speed. Speed is also fine. If you see velocity, the speed is very fast. Okay, I can have some company may have 100 transactions in a day, or some companies may have 10,000 transactions in a day. So you need to handle all that. So that data coming very fastly, we need to capture the data, we need to put it somewhere, we need to refresh the data, we need to present in a graphical way how the data is going on. So today, how my data, today how my sales are happening, and all we need to show this to the business. So that is why we are being recruited as a data engineer. So before going into data engineer roles, so there are some other roles that will be working on this big data. Okay. Any guesses about the other roles from the team? What are the different types of roles we have in this big data? So any guesses like what are the different type of roles that we have in working on this big data? Any guesses? I guess
Data
Tina,
engineer,
yeah, one is data engineer role which we are now taking course on. What are the other
data
roles?
analyst, data scientist,
Yeah, correct. Okay. So now what does a data analyst do? And
dashboards,
how we,
creating dashboards,
yes, creating dashboards. So he generally takes some part of the data. He use some tools like Tableau, Looker, or Power BI. He will do some transformations in the data, and whatever the data that are required by the business, he will only make sure that that data is presented as a reports or dashboard. Okay. The other role is data scientist role. So how is this different from data analyst and data engineer? Any guesses?
data scientist. He will work on the data. And
Other people, any guesses? What does a data scientist, how he is different from data analyst and engineer?
Yeah. Data analyst is basically responsible for analysis part of the data. Data engineer process the data starting from data ingestion till data modeling or data reporting. Data scientist mainly works on the data modeling or generative AI part of the work.
Yeah. So what general happens is the flow is like this. So data engineer, what does he do is generally he will collect the data, okay, from all multiple sources from where the data is flowing. He will collect the data and he will put it in some location. Okay, then afterwards, what he will do is he will try to bring the data into one good format. Now, for example, say I get data in text files, I get data in CSV files, I get data in some other formats. Now, for example, say only the employee information coming in a different formats for me. Okay, some CSV file, TXT files, from SharePoint site, and some people emailing them. So all the data, what does this they do is these data engineers they generally establish some connections to those things, and he generally dumps everything data into one single location, and then he starts working on the data. So once he started clearing the data, then what does he do is he will after doing transformations, he will load the data into some location which is very fresh. Okay. Now, what does this data analyst do is he will try to use this data that is refined by data engineer. Okay, he will take this data and he will do some little transformations like whatever columns he need, whatever information he need. He will do the basic transformations. He will do and he will develop the reports and dashboards. Okay, and data scientist also will use the same data that is refined by the data engineers, and he will try to do predictions. So predictions are like uh, the, we will say that okay, from last 5 years, how my business is doing. Okay, for example, say last 1 year it was doing very good, and before last year it was doing very good. Now, data scientists what they will do is he will just think why why we have profits are coming down slowly last year when compared to before last year. So he will be working on that concept, why it has happened, what is the reason behind that there is a fall in the sales, and if we try to bring a new product into the market, how gonna hit the market, will it be a hit or will it be a flop, and what are all the different audience we are targeting, and are we these people middle class people are using our products more, or the higher class are using our products more. So he will do all kind of these predictions as a data scientist. He will do some machine learning models he will build up, then he will train all these models with all this data that is being cleared or transformed by the data engineers. Okay, and then he will start building models and predictions, and then business is completely depend on the data scientist what to take what step they need to take next. Okay, so that is about data scientist role. Data analyst is a basic thing like what is weekly report? Okay, please develop and give it to me. He do that activity. But as a data engineer, we are having a heavy work of getting all the data from multiple sources and putting them in one location, then doing all the transformations, and then giving it as a fresh data where analyst and data scientist can utilize. Okay, now you understood, right? Different type of roles in data engineer, in data management. Any doubts still here? Anyone? Any doubts about different roles in data management? Radha?
No, no doubts.
Okay, fine. Then, okay. Then we have seen about data, then what we are doing on the data, and then the different roles that are working on the data, we understood. Okay, now we will start jumping into cloud computing. Okay, so anybody has any basic information about what is cloud computing? Anyone? Just tell me if at all you have knowledge on cloud computing or you don't have any knowledge. Just say yes or no. That is fine, because I think you will have an idea like different any cloud providers like AWS, Amazon, you say Azure and GCP. You know about these cloud providers? Anyone? So AWS is one cloud
Yes.
provider. What we are learning now. So I'll give a basic understanding like what is cloud and why you use cloud. Okay, with some example. Okay, so when you say 10 years back or 15 years back, for example, say if I'm trying to establish a company, okay, software company. So and I have about 50 employees working under me, and since I'm setting up this uh, software company, I need to purchase 50 machines, computers, and I need to install some softwares into it. Okay, stop me if you're not understanding. Okay, I need to install some softwares like I'm trying to install Microsoft Office in all my 50 servers. Okay, I start deploying it, and I actually take some help from the network administrator, and I'll tell him, see, I bought 50 license of Microsoft Office. Now please try to install on all my computers, okay, in the company. Okay, now what network administrator will do, he will say, okay, to install all this. So this is not the current scenario what I'm talking about. If you go about 20 years back or 15 years back, if you go, so there used to be a network administrator. Anybody aware of that? Him, network administrator. He generally used to come to our systems and he will tell, okay, what is the issue you are facing. He would do some updates on our systems or laptops. He would install some softwares. Anybody has any idea about network administrators?
No, actually.
Okay, so what these people used to do is they generally, for example, say I now example what we are talking about. I have established a company of 50 people. I had 50 systems, and I hired a network administrator. Now I asked him to okay go and install a micro 50 licenses, Microsoft Office licenses on 50 machines. So he said, this is a very big task. I am alone. So what he will do is he will go and he will take 2 to 3 days of time. He will be sitting on each machine. He will put that CD into that machine, and then he'll open it. He will install it. So he will do the same activity on all 50 systems. Okay, and then he will make sure that everything is working fine. Okay, now I have invested 50,000 rupees, for example, say for this Microsoft Office licenses. Okay, now what happened? There is a new version that came in for Microsoft Office. Okay, after 2 years, 3 years, then these people asked me, Microsoft asked me, okay, please upgrade your Microsoft Office. Uh, you need to buy again a new license. Then he'll say, then what I'll do again, I'll buy a new license. Again, I'll be deploying on all 50 systems. Then suddenly what happens is suddenly my company is not doing well and I'm planning to close my uh, company. Now if you see the losses, I purchased 50 systems and I invested amount on all these licenses in my computers. and after 2 years now I am nowhere. So I have invested a lot. Now I am not getting anything out of it. I am just trying to sell all my systems and all. I am not ready to close my company. So what happened to this investment, okay, which I did? It's a pure loss, right? Okay, so that used to be happen around 15 years back. Okay, now when we are talking about cloud computing, what he's telling is cloud provider, either Amazon or Google or Azure, Microsoft Azure. What these people are telling is, hey, why you are wasting time in purchasing these offices and installing on your machines and then doing all the patching work, all the upgrading works. Why are you wasting so much time? So we have a cloud. That means cloud is nothing but over the internet. You can use my software of MS Office. Okay, you just purchase it. Purchase in the sense like initially I put some amount into it, or else pay as you go price. Okay, for example, say today I am using Microsoft Office, and he is charging me $10 today. For example, say then only pay $10 for today, and you use that software. Now, what I will do as a software company owner, what I will do is I have my machines ready. So what I tell the 50 people, go to the cloud, go browse there, and try to. We have a license, we have a subscription. Okay, they start using Microsoft Office. Then what people will do, they start using this Microsoft Office, and if somebody is not using, if 30 people are there in the office, 20 people are not there, I'm only charged for the 20 people. The remaining 20 I'm not being charged. Now as of a sudden, if my company goes down, then I'll say to the cloud provider, I'm not using your services anymore yet, so from tomorrow I'm planning to cancel the subscription, I don't want to use. Then simply, okay, fine, he will say. So I have been paying for what I have been using on a daily basis. So it's not impacting me much. Okay, so that is the business of cloud providers. So they generally provide different types of services. For example, say if you see my screen, different services are like, they have storage services, they have computing services, they have database services. So they are having many services. They will be telling, hey, you take a subscription, you use all these services, you can store your data, you can purchase SQL Server, you can purchase Oracle, you can load your data there, you can pay for whatever you are using. For some service, cloud provider, they say according to the GB. So for example, say if you have 1 GB of data, you only pay for that. If you're having 100 GB of data, only pay for that. For storage services, then we have compute services. Compute services are like, for example, say if at all you want to write some code, then you need to install some softwares on your laptop. If at all you want to do coding on Visual Studio, then you used to install Visual Studio on your machine, then you write a code, then you do deployments and all stuff you used to. So similarly, what he will tell for the compute also, like if at all you want to develop any software, we will be having Visual Studio, we will be having some other softwares on cloud. You just use it, you develop it. Okay, you write your code, you have your own developer machines, test machines, and production machines. So you do on the cloud only. Okay, nothing you buy. You don't need to buy anything in bulk. Just you use it and you pay it. So that is what the concept of cloud computing here is. We'll be seeing different services they are giving to us. Like if you see here on my screen, compute services are there, storage services are there, database services. These are the basic top three services we are talking about, but there are hell lot of service also, like machine learning, you have services, then data scientist, you have some services. So these services, use it, pay for it. If you don't want it anymore, then don't use it. So that is what the concept of cloud computing. Okay, understood about cloud computing? Any, or you still have any doubt? Fine. So now we have seen about cloud computing. So now in the market, there are many cloud providers. Hey, you start using my cloud services. I have more features. My price is very less. The other provider will say, hey, price is normal, but we are providing many features. You get this, you get that also. Depending upon our requirement, we choose our own cloud provider. Okay. So any guesses of different cloud providers? I told you right already. So we have top three cloud providers as AWS, Amazon, Azure, and GCP, Google Cloud Provider. Okay. So now, uh, for data engineer role also, we need to use some services uh, for our work, right? Okay. So now we are learning AWS, AWS data engineer since course we are taking. So we will be using AWS services. Okay. So what are the services that will be useful for us as a data engineer? We'll see it further. For example, say if some other guy, data analyst guy, want to use, uh, for example, say now if you see, data analyst want to make some dashboards out of it. Now, if at all he is using Amazon cloud provider, he need to use what services? He need to use Looker to develop his own dashboards. And if, for example, say if I am using Azure cloud provider, now what is the tool that I need to use as a data analyst? Any guess? Any guess, guys? For example,
Power
say
BI.
yes, correct. As a, if I am using cloud provider Azure, I need to use Power BI to develop a dashboard. Okay, now if at all I am a Amazon guy, if at all I am using Amazon, then I'll be using Looker. So what about GCP? For example, I'm saying Google Cloud, GCP I'm using. Now as a see, okay, Looker is for Google. So we have some other tool for Amazon also to develop the dashboards. So like that, now since I'm learning data engineer, Azure will give me different services to extract data, transform data, and do loading part. Now since we are learning AWS, I will be using some services like storage services like S3 storage buckets, AWS Glue. These all services we'll be using it. Okay. So these are the basic things before before directly jumping into AWS. Now I think you people have an idea like as a data engineer, what I need to work on. I need to work on big data. Then I will be I'll be using cloud services. So we know about cloud computing. We have basic understanding of cloud computing and different cloud providers. And now we'll be jumping into Amazon. Okay, Amazon Web Services. We'll deep dive into it. What are the storage services we have? What are the compute service we have? For to writing this ETL pipeline. So as a data engineer, just keep in mind that my work is to extract, transform, and load ETL process. Okay. Any technology you take, you either work on Azure, is work as a data engineer is extract, transform, load. As a AWS, extract, transform, load. As a GCP data engineer, extract, transform, load. Activity is same, but what are all the services we are using is different. Okay. As Lina is into Azure, she will be using her own storage devices, storing data, Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 she will be using, and she will be using Data Factory, Databricks for extracting, transforming, and loading. But as a AWS data engineer, we'll be using different services to do this activity. Okay, so we will deep dive tomorrow just to see what are the different services we will be using in Amazon for our data engineer purpose. Okay, so any doubt till here? Yeah, Suresh, you are
Yeah,
saying
in this
something.
course, in this course, there will be only cloud or any PySpark, SQL or anything will be there.
PySpark
That
will
will
be
come.
touching it basically. Okay, mainly we'll be seeing Amazon services, writing ETLs, and somewhat basic coding also we'll do. And you have any doubts about in that? But my suggestion is like you backend prepare. You start working on Python, start learning on Python. Anyway, we'll touch it up. But my suggestion is just you brush uh, a little thing on the Python and PySpark. Okay.
And in AWS, we will cover all the topics like Blue, S3, Lambda,
Yeah, we'll be
Delta.
covering all the major services that are helpful for this data engineer role. Okay. For example, say as a when you go for an interview, so what are the basic services they will be mainly targeting on? those service we will touch up, and we'll have some practical examples on how to some practical examples and some practical projects. Like if you try to give an interview, he will be basically asking, okay, what is the current project, what services did you use in your project, okay, and why you used this. So what is mainly needed for that thing, we will be covering that all. If you have further any doubts, you can ask here, we will work on it.
Okay, okay. That means the this course will be mostly focusing on interview purpose, right? Interview purpose
Not
or
mainly on interview purpose, but it will make you an ready for that thing. Okay.
okay.
Even if you know the presentation is more important, right, in the interview. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So we will touch up all the basic things, all the important topics and services that will be helpful for you to get into this role.
What is the different IDEs we use with respect to AWS development? And maybe I just wanted to understand what different IDEs usually companies use on a larger scale, and what IDA you will consider for teaching or developing any small projects here.
Okay, then see in our next class. If at all you have any doubts, you can come up with it. Okay. Thank you all.